within the next 3 years. The first application round finished last Friday. I'm not going to tell the numbers of how many applications we got. We got significant amount of applications from Europe, good amount from Poland, and we will later tell the exact numbers in each area. I'm not going to today detail the call to the innovation fund as such, but if you want to ask after the presentation, feel free to do so. The product development is very natural part for Google. We are about 60,000 people working for Google globally, and roughly half of us are engineers. I'm always making the same jokes, so sorry those who haven't heard it before, but I'm as well an engineer, but I'm a construction engineer, so for public safety reasons I'm working for Google. But the engineering and technology is one of the ways we probably could the best help any industry or support any industry through the digital transformation. And I will take a couple of examples in this short presentation. The first one, the first question that the publishers normally asked, that how could we help, was something about mobile. If you already heard, I understood from the translation that like many of the presentations were actually touching the topic of mobile usage, how it's growing very fast. And it seems to be the main, in many markets, it's the main source of consuming news nowadays. And if we look how people consume the news, there are really roughly like 3 use cases, and I will talk a little bit about the slide, even like you probably know. First of all, there is the targeted queries, or, well, easily put search. There are Bing, Yahoo, Google, even YouTube is a search engine. People are really searching some like exact topic they want to find information. And very often the news industry is providing the answer, so they are going to the news site. This audience is probably interested in a particular article they land on, and they are probably audience that come to your site again if you are offering the information. Then in the middle is as many of the speakers today refer to the social media, like sudden finding of content. So if you go to browse Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat, you probably don't know, do you see first news articles, or do you see funny photos, or something news from your friends, but it's a kind of suddenly you find a news article, you want to click it. And the same happens that the audience comes to the website. Probably a bit more entertainment and time consumption seeking audience at that particular moment. But anyway, as told today, very important part of the traffic. Then there's the last part, which is the core customers of the publishers. The habitual use that you go time after time with the same site. I have a couple sites that I follow all the time. It's even like probably a little bit annoying that I do it myself. Several times a day, probably 25, 30 times a day, I go to the same site, which is my native country, Finnish site, also one of the newspapers I follow regularly. I used to work for them, so I can of course go. Many of the sites are actually offering apps for the habitual consumption, and apps are good for the loyal audience. There are a couple of caveats about using apps. One of them that actually the content within the apps is not so easy to be found. The second thing is that the apps are actually not massively good for creating new audiences. Those who download the apps, they are already somehow engaged with your brand. Many of them actually don't still use the app. In some markets like US, it seems to be that 25% of the people who actually download the app start to be actively using it. So the apps are good, but they are not the best if you want to get new audiences, and that's very important all the time for all the publishers to gain new audiences, new target groups. younger target groups when they grow to the age that they want to consume news. And it seems to be that the news consumption as such, as everybody knows, this is the best time for journalism. There's a problem of the business models, but the best time of journalism because most of the publishers in this room, they gain more audience than ever before the pre-digital era. And that's why it's important to find that people are really interested about the news content. What comes to the mobile, one of the challenges is that about 40%, depending on the market, but about 40% of the traffic, they leave the mobile site if the site takes more than 3 seconds to load. It's actually a massive amount of people getting bored waiting for the content to open. So if you look your favorite sites with your mobile browsers, just like try to calculate how long does it take to open, and do you feel annoyed when you try to find the article you are willing to read that it takes for a while. People are actually quite, they don't have patience to wait. So the challenge in the spring, what the publishers said, that the mobile seems to be the growing and even the main focus of the news consumption. And at the same time, the whole mobile web is extremely slow. And we all in the publishing industry have done it like to be very slow. At the same time, that it means actually that the user experience is not good, and what happens when the user experience is not good, the users try to spend their time or find their information through routes that provide an excellent user experience. So, and the final thing I have to repeat that the mobile apps also, they create silos. So when our engineers started to study about the problem, you can find several things. The web pages, if you look at the article pages, I make a kind of a simplification that you shouldn't use as a answer for at least in the university test or anywhere. But basically what happens when you load the page, you are uploading an app of several thousands of code to your browser, whether it's a desktop browser or your mobile browser. It is very heavy, often just one article with few photos, some dynamic elements might be more than 2 megabytes. In a market where the data plans for mobile connections are very expensive, people are also feeling that this is actually hitting my wallet. You might think that they are not ready to pay for the content, but in many cases they actually pay for the content because they wait to open and upload every time 2 megabytes of data from their expensive plans. This is not in all markets the same. This morning I was waking up in Bucharest 4 a.m. and I flew to here, and I learned yesterday that actually the data plans in Bucharest are considerably cheap, so this as a one topic is not a problem there, but they still are suffering bad user experience in most of the cases. Nice. Cool. So our engineering teams launched a project called Accelerated Mobile Pages. This took about 5 months to prepare, so we did the launch 2 months ago, and the launch was as sexy as it could be, so engineers uploaded the code to the open source website called GitHub. So this is not anymore our project only, it's everybody's project. So we invited the whole ecosystem to develop, also freely to use the code which is available for everyone, every single small publisher to every big publisher. The work they did, and once again you see behind the very big simplification, is a kind of an innovative way of structuring the content in a new way. For sure we started to suggest that the publishers should strip the JavaScript from the pages, at least a big part of it, because it's one of the huge chunk of the heavy data load that you have to upload every time to the pages. But also, normally the pages at the current time, they are loaded in a synchronous way, meaning that one element after another one. So accelerated mobile pages or AMPs, they are structured in a way that it allows asynchronous loading, which means that all the content at the same time with the extremely lightning speed. I'm clicking now because I can't see there. So there's a live demo which will be very small screen unless some of my colleagues help you to see it in behind. But the importance of this work is that what accelerated mobile pages mean, it doesn't mean that you have to go put your content to one place to provide your users an excellent user experience. It means that you can have your own website, you use the AMP HTML code, and you are able to provide the same fantastic experience wherever the link is clicked. Which means that because you don't know from the user habits that whether it's a social media, whether it's a blog post or whatever, but when your link is clicked, it opens in a lightning speed. And now to the unfortunate demo, which is a small screen, but the front row has promised to clap if it works, so then you know it's very fast. I have to lower my microphone for a second. So this is a real live demo. It's built on now Google search. I bet you don't see from the back row this, but let's agree that somebody makes a marketplace. So I just make a search phrase, and the reason why it's now in the Google search is because we've been the first ones to build it, but there is Twitter, Pinterest, WordPress, and everybody, they are already integrating the AMP code and AMP structure for their system. All the CMS manufacturers are probably already focusing. So I make a search for Syria, and yeah, press the one. There is a small sign that you're in a demo phase. There is for the front row here, there's a small carousel which shows that these are all live articles from companies that are already integrating the AMP. So there is a BBC, Washington Post, The Guardian, a lot of BBC news obviously now in this time. They are from this day. I press a button and somebody might have seen that this is I'm not in a Wi-Fi here, I'm using the data plan here. Actually now I can actually put it like this. The page loaded in that millisecond. I went to the next article, and I have not uploaded this article, I just made the search. So the point of this whole project is to provide any publisher anywhere a fantastic user experience, like closer to milliseconds rather than seconds. This version is a developer preview. We have communicated very clearly that this lacks some elements. Our engineering teams are now, as we speak, building a few critical elements that the publishers want to have. There will be analytics, of course, because it doesn't. You heard how important the data about the users are, so you want to have the analytics there. There will be the advertising experience, because without the opportunity of monetizing, like the previous presentation showed, it doesn't make sense to show, drive people to these ads. There will be a bunch of dynamic elements, which could be infographics, videos, whatever, but still with the same fantastic speed, opening the mobile browser with database. I can show in the break for those who are in fact like closer to this if you didn't see it. But the benefit here is that when we, together with everybody who is participating for the open source project, the GitHub or communities, Stack Overflow community, and discuss and propose own ideas how to improve the code, so the whole ecosystem is then participating, making it good. When there is more and more opportunities to create different dynamic elements, each publisher decides how the pages look like. You can make your fantastic, beautiful design, or you can make your old-fashioned whatever design. It doesn't matter. It's up to the publisher to decide how the pages should look like. So we wanted to create some kind of a model that the open internet with diversity of different type of content producers, publishers can do however they want and at the same time provide a fantastic user experience. Live demo, you saw it. So this link is the link for the page. So if you are a developer or you have developers with an internal or external ones, you should send them to this page. This is actually readable for anyone who is not an engineer, so it's not too complex in that sense. Technically, this is pretty much like HTML. You need to, of course, understand the new way of structuring, the philosophy of A and B's, but this is a new way of doing it. I saw the 5-minute mark on my thing cut, but this is now developing very fast food. So why is it now good time to look at? Because next spring, very early next year, not defining the exact date, but very early next year, there will be the first version live with the critical elements mentioned earlier in this speech. So in that sense, if you want to speed experience for your customers, please start playing with the code with your internal development works. I say another example. This is much shorter, but probably very interesting for the publishing industry. There was a second thing that came out from the publishers in the discussions that we could try. Video news is a very important part for anyone at the moment. So you don't need to be a broadcaster to be interested in video news. And the reason is it's very engaging with the audiences. It is very good for monetization purposes, especially in the mobile platform. The video CPMs seem to be extremely higher than in the normal banner mobile environment. And also it is kind of a fun for the audiences because they really like this kind of a short news flashes in either mobile or desktop environment. 1 month ago we had an event in Berlin where we had 170 guests from 140 European publishers. We spoke a lot about the accelerated mobile pages, but we also announced a pilot which starts in Q1, so in January, which is called Embedded YouTube Player Pilot. It is an answer. The pilot tries to answer a question that the publishers has raised to us, that running videos is actually technically pretty complex. It is also in many times quite expensive, because if you have a masses of videos, hosting starts to be pretty expensive. So for these purposes, the YouTube embedded player pilot means that we are trying with small number of publishers. There are very big ones and also pretty small ones all over Europe, and only from Europe in this pilot, even though this is a global project. That how they can use YouTube as their main player for a video hosting platform on their own site. This is not exactly the one version that you know already, that you can actually embed YouTube player to your site already, but this is a version that this really comes to the use of editorial rules. It's kind of the white label version of YouTube, so you can even hide the YouTube logo. We try to learn with the publishers how they can use it for monetization, but how they can also work with the videos that it serves the normal rhythm of newsrooms. I don't have too much to tell about this, but if you are interested about the pilot, you should follow up the Digital News Initiative newsletters, which we send hopefully every month, and we probably tell more about what are the results of the pilot, and if they go well in the Q1, we are planning to expand the participants in Q2, and if that works out very well, then probably open it in later part of next year for a whole news publisher ecosystem to try YouTube Play. That would mean basically zero hosting cost for video news for a publishing. That's a very good advantage of this service. Both of these examples are results of the dialogue with the publishing industry. We wouldn't have done probably these things in the way we are now doing without having the feedback from the publishers. So when we established the digital news initiative, our point was to really get feedback from you and from the industry. And the results of this kind of feedback are these projects, which are technology projects, but it's the core what Google can do. We are, the biggest part of our work is to do something with the technology. So there are probably more to come already from the discussions we have had during this year, but I'm really hoping and inviting you to challenge us in a way to hear more and what else we do. These both projects are still going. The AMP is ready to be launched at least in some way early next year, and the pilot continues at least the first half of the 2016. This is the site where you find more information, and you can sign publicly or not publicly to get the newsletters and hear more about us and our emails. So this was as an examples like asked what we do, what Google does with the news industry and how the digital news industry works. Thank you very much.